Why did you sign up for Venki's role in The Distance Between Us?
A couple of reasons. One, I thought the film had a tremendous potential. Two, I really liked the filmmakers. And three, I thought the character had a lot of great things going for itself. So those were the three key reasons. I would say primarily, really, it was when I had a conversation with Sanjay, the producer of the film, and Chandu, who's the director. They gave a vibe of somebody who wants to make a change in this industry, and especially from a South Asian perspective, I found that very appealing.
How did you get comfortable with this character and who he was?
I think the best thing was how approachable the director was, and so that changed a lot of the dynamics in terms of me understanding the character. Because ultimately, this was the writer slash director Chandu's vision, but he gave enough time for each of us, each of the actors, to understand him, and what are some of the key intricacies and how to deal with that. So I would say in one process, in a process perspective, first thing was having multiple conversations with the director slash writer. Number two, really having an introspective process when you look at a character. And three, how do we draw from professional examples, other examples of people who are in a similar field? What are some of those characteristics? And ultimately, it's making your mind believe that. So I hope, thankfully, I was able to do that a little bit.
What did you think of Venki's version of yourself?
I'm not sure if I am at all close to Venkat. There are similarities. And what I do is, of course, in every character that I play on screen, there's ultimately you have to be true to yourself. So I bring out certain elements of my own personality that I see fitting into the character on screen. A couple of things that I really like about Venkat and that character is he has a sense of ethics, despite hardships, so good or bad times. His ethics is not a wavering object. So that's something that a connecting point with Venkat. And number two is he's an immigrant in this country. He has a sense of drive. So part of that was also something that it resonated with me. So yeah, so overall, I would say those are the two key elements. I just didn't like delivering the bad news over and over, but what the heck? That was Venkat, not me.
Was it challenging to find the right balance in the character?
Not really, no. I would be. The good news was, like I said, the challenge is created when you have too much ambiguity. The good news was by having the constant conversations with other colleagues, folks who are on set, including the director and writer, it constantly gave me enough information that I needed to move forward, but not so much that it crippled me. So I think that is the balancing act, right? So that you don't inundate yourself with so much that you're like, I must act like this, and you cannot get into a character pre-planned. And building upon that, the best part was that the director gave each of us enough flexibility to just be ourselves. And I didn't feel stifled. I've been on sets where that has happened before. So and it really compromises on not just the character but the overall product. So here I felt there was enough of that flexibility. If there was something new you wanted to bring on screen, the openness was there. So that I found exciting and it's motivating.
So, what were the challenges with shooting out of continuity and still finding your place?
I would say that was probably the biggest challenge. Um, in all seriousness, like typically as we realize, there's a continuity director. There's one person who's always taking care of that, and they're kind of prepping you to say, oh, what are here's where you left off. Here's where you should be. Your collar should be like this. So the good news was, while some of that was happening, but the gap was too big at times. And I know it's an independent project. I know the challenge we are all facing together. So each time to come back into that moment and really remembering that key moment of where you left it off, I would say that was a challenge. But to overcome that, like I said, we had enough of a little prep time before the shoot. I didn't feel stifled. I didn't feel getting pushed into a direction to say, you must deliver this scene at this very second. So I think that helped us all build the character better.
What was your favorite scene or favorite performance in the film?
Where I am unveiling the message to the lead characters. Um, but what just has happened, the visa did not get approved. That it was an intense scene, and I felt that the chemistry really worked between the three people. I felt something as I walked away, and so yeah, that would be my favorite scene.
What was the most challenging scene for you in this film?
Also, the same one because I felt that the fact that I like it and I love it is because it was challenging. And the challenge really was for me to conceptualize and internalize this how two of these characters in their lives are falling apart. And for me to be right there in the middle of that crossroad was an exciting. It sounds almost morbid that I say it's exciting, but it was. And I think to go through that process, I've seen my friends go through some tough times, and it really brought back a lot of memories. So while, like I said, you internally you really hate some of these things, but to be able to explore that part of you was beautiful.
Is there a particular scene you felt you could have done differently?
Absolutely. To be quite honest, I think actors in general, I can't speak for other people, but we're all really insecure creatures, and it's not like a math problem that you already have a solution to. So you understand your success. There's no success metrics. Every metrics is dependent on how the audience is viewing it. So when you walk away from any scene, even though you give it a damn good shot and you feel like you really, that felt really good, you're at the mercy of anybody else that's viewing it. So could I have done it better? I think so. Every scene that I do, I always think about, oh my God, I wish I did it a little bit differently, and I think that's the motivation to keep on improving. So that's my drive. Is that I'm not sure where the end is, but it's that chase that's what keeps me going.
What was your experience working with fellow actors, Raul, Leah, Ariane, and Akshay?
Wonderful, professional. Um, I've been on some sets where you end up being friends for life, and yet there are moments of really unprofessional behavior from certain people. This was not one of them. I felt that the cast, the crew, everybody really came together. Actors really cared about what they were doing. And that means a lot because, we all, as actors or anybody else, any piece of the overall puzzle when you're on a film set, everybody's putting in their time towards making a product. And one person can really bring it down. So fortunately, I had a fantastic experience. People like Akshay, Ashok, I continue to be in touch with. I get a call from them every so often, like, "Hey man, how are you?" And I would do the same thing, and it's great. I think it started a lot of great relationships and strengthened some more.
So, what's it like working with Chandu Yeram, the director?
One of the worst experiences of my life. Horrible, horrible. Guy is crazy, but it's crazy good. I really like the guy. I think what I love about Chandu is the fact that he is very approachable, very candid, very real. He doesn't ever come across as he's sitting on a pedestal, and as an actor, that's what makes it a treat to work with. Um, he's organized in a lot of ways that despite having so many challenges and I've seen him, it's the effort that makes a film. And to be quite frank, I've seen a lot of people, despite having more resources, kind of take the back seat and say, "Hey man, I'm the director, it's not my job." I've never for once seen or felt Chandu doing such a thing. He has always said, "What else can I do?" and always jumped in to do more. So that, as a human being, I have tremendous respect for. I absolutely admire people like that. In addition to that, as an actor, it's simple. Prep the actor enough, give him enough information, but then give him or her their space. And I felt that he really does that. So I think that's what, like I said, I really enjoyed working with him. Cool guy.
How many movies have you done so far?
Well, if we go by IMDb credits, but more than that, so there's been about close to 15 to 20. So if you include short films, projects, there's been a few. But in general, from shorts to features, it's been more than a few.
You always look so great. How do you stay in shape? What's your secret?
There is no secret. I know you're trying to be really nice, and I appreciate that. So there's really no secret. I love to eat, and I eat as much as I can of anything. So I think there's one thing that I should be doing more. Is probably working out a bit more. So thank you, but I'll learn to take it with a pinch of salt or curry, whatever.
What role would you love to play? Your dream role, if you will.
Oh man, I love um, I love duality in characters. I American Psycho, one of the roles. Oh man, it's just that kind of stuff. I love it. One of my favorite actors, is Al Pacino as well. So I feel every time he comes on screen, he sets the screen on fire. And there's his method is so different from De Niro has a separate type of method than what Al Pacino does, and that's sort of it. Almost feels like you're looking at a wild animal on screen. So that's the kind of stuff that I love to do. Scent of a Woman. I mean, just come on, you can keep on naming these beautiful stuff. So these are the people that I feel inspired by, and ultimately, I think as an actor, to be able to unlock a side of you, to be able to unleash that inner self in the most uninhibited way. That's the magic of acting, man. I mean, to be able to do that. And when I've seen these examples do it, and that's my dream, aspiration, and just love it.
So, what's your next move?
There's a project that I'm in talks with right now. It's a feature film. Uh, I cannot divulge the name of the project or too much details, but what I can share is that it's an international project between New York, Paris, and it's planned on being shot in India. Actually, it's still being. It's not a typical commercial film. The director is not a typical commercial director, so he has done terrific work being out in Paris, and so this is his next project. We recently worked on a short film together, so now we're undertaking this feature film and seeing how things roll out.
Is there any special recognition or award that you've received for your acting skills?
Yes, I was fortunate to receive a couple things. I recently won the Best Actor award at the International Film Festival of Manhattan. So this happened a few months ago. And then a little before that, I won the Best Supporting Actor award. That was the same year, so that was 2013 for me. So yeah, there's a couple of small things, and then primarily what I see is that as an actor, it goes far beyond just awards. It's about to be able to connect with audiences, and that's what I'm. So it's early on in my career, and I think that would be my biggest reward for to put my work in front of others and have them feel something, not even appreciate, but feel something. So, still going strong for that award, but yeah, there's been a small few things here and there.
So, give me a few tips on what it takes to be a successful actor.
No tips, no tips. I think I mean, like I said, the day with the grace of God, if I ever come close to Al Pacino, I'll think of giving people tips. Until then, what I can say is just work your hardest, and just don't think of the small stuff. And a lot of us tend to have and don't have an ego. I think like nobody is big enough to have an ego, and that's not. It'll be detrimental to your career, to whatever you're trying to be. Um, and really finding that true self. Like, just do it for the right purpose. For young actors starting out, if you're doing this for money, this is probably a horrible path. It's probably one of the worst, actually. So do it for the right reason, whatever that reason might be for you. And don't stop, keep going. A lot of us don't see the light at the end of the tunnel in certain cases. Believe me, it's a struggle. And I know many successful actors who still continue to face that struggle. I've had many conversations like that. And so the goal is to keep on proving, even to yourself, that you can move forward. Yeah, so don't lose the essence and keep going at it.
What advice would you give to the young kids out there who want to act?
The best. My cousin visited my family yesterday. So they wanted to just come by, spend some time with my mom, and she has two children. I was sitting there and I was talking to my parents about how, just looking at the children, how uninhibited they are. It's incredible. So they actually have a different challenge than what adults do. Adults are, the older we grow, the more confined we get. With kids, this kid is sitting there, finds a bell from someone, starts ringing it, doesn't have a single care in the world. So we as adults should learn from kids and how to get into that kind of a mindset in front of camera. So yeah, for tips, no. If you love it, I was telling my cousin this. I was just like, hey, if you want to send your children for them to explore, this area, you totally should. And yeah, for kids, not at all. I think if you feel like you excel when you're in front of a camera, just go do it. Don't overthink this. I don't think this is a field to overthink the hell out of and all that. It's something that comes from here.
Thank you very much for your time.